The People's Club, come on in, where blue runs deep and hearts begin.
Welcome back, Blues, to the People's Club channel. In today's show, we're going to have a podcast between ourselves and the Mersey Blue podcast. We're going to have Nick and we're going to have Marco, and we're going to be talking about Thierno Barry and Beto and how they compare against the rest of the Premier League stats-wise, okay? Only numbers and only stats and no emotion, okay? We'll get the opinions from Nick and we'll get the opinions from Marco, and then we'll move through the podcast as it goes along. So, welcome, and let's get straight into it.
I follow along.
All right, then, no issues. So, the first one I'm going to start with, boys, is goals, okay? How do you guys think, compared to all other Premier League strikers, Beto and Barry have performed? Where do you think they would land? Do you think they'd be good, above average, average, below average, poor? Where do you think? If you had to take a guess, I'll start with you, Nick.
I think average. Yeah, I think average, mate. I think Beto has hit 9 or 10 goals. I think Barry's on 8.
Yeah.
So far for the season. Two different types of strikers, two different types of game. With them, I'd say they're probably average, mate. Probably about mid-table.
Okay. You, Mark?
I would say for Beto, above average for creating chances or for getting chances, but for converting below.
Just for goals scored, mate. Just for goals scored.
Yeah, no, I would say below average.
Okay.
For both of them.
They're actually both above average.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay. There's all the goals here. I don't know what. Do you want me to zoom in a little bit here? Can you see that okay? Or do you want me to zoom in? Okay, you can see up here.
No, we've got them.
Okay, so you can see them here. This is the goals 25-26 season. Okay. They're sitting in the above average section. Okay, the average is 6. Okay, 6 to 7 like that. Okay, so the average section sits here, and they sit just above it on 8 and 9 goals compared to all of the strikers. You've got Walter Made sitting below them. You've got Isaac from the Red Shite sitting down there, but he has been injured, so we'll give him a bit, you know. You've got the likes of Broker, Isaac from the Red Shite, dude.
Yeah,
he's only played a certain amount of minutes, so you can't really take that in. Then you got Liam Delap, who sits down the bottom. You know, Kai Havertz, Broker. So, to be honest, our boys this season are above average when it comes to the average Premier League goal scored. Okay, but the question is, there's a difference in time on the pitch and minutes. Okay, so based on the same time on the pitch as the others, all right. There's a stat for per 90, okay? And where our boys land per 90 for the minutes they've played and the goals they've scored, again, above average. So basically, Beto scored 0.55 goals per 90. Barry has scored 0.40. They're actually up there with some big names, dude. They're up there with Jimenez, Richarlison, Mateta, Ekitike, Robbie. They're above Larson. They're above, obviously, Isaac. I'm going to keep mentioning him because he's red shite. And then the likes of the Lap and that, you know, the Lap still played 11, 12 games this season. And he scored 1 goal. So our boys are actually performing above average in the Premier League this season when it comes to goals and goals per 90. You didn't see that coming, did you?
No,
I didn't, to be fair, you know.
You know, it is surprising. When I was doing it, I was like, no, I'll double check that again. I'll double check that again, you know. So yeah, they are pretty good on that. Okay, so
good to hear.
They're up there, mate. They're up there. Okay, so the next question is shots. Okay, where do you think they stand now when it comes to getting in the position and getting the shot off on goal? Okay, and then when they get in a position to get a shot off on goal, how accurate do you think they are? So, I mean, for me this season, I haven't seen them get in very many positions to be able to get a shot off. That's what I've seen playing games, you know. So, where do you think they would stand on actually shots on goal this season?
I'm going to go with probably combined with them average for basically getting in there, I think conversion rate is going to be below average. That's what I pitch.
So average for getting enough shots on target,
Getting in there,
and then below
yeah,
average for actually hitting the target.
more shot conversion. Yeah.
All right, that's fair enough. What about you, Mark?
I'm gonna say for both of them, yeah, getting into position inside the area and getting a touch below average and actually getting a shot on goal. It's more so Beto.
Okay, so for shots on goal, okay, you can see here average per game. Okay, I put it in a game place because it makes it a bit more fair. Because some
Yeah.
players haven't played as much, so I've done it per game. Okay, Beto sits average, Barry sits below average. Okay, Barry's only getting
Yeah.
off around 1.8 shots per game. Beto's actually getting off 2.5 shots per game. Okay, but then the question is the percentage they hit on target. Okay, so all right, they're getting there because I've seen them miss a few sitters this season. Like I don't know about you guys,
Yeah, man.
but I've looked.
Yeah.
Okay?
Terrible.
But here we go. They're both average. Beto was actually differing on the above average. He hits the target 40% of the time, and Barry hits it 37. So that average for compared to all the other Premier League strikers, they're average. Okay, they're not great, they're not bad, they're just average. But the
Middle of the road.
But the best thing, the funniest thing I've seen so far, is Ekatiki from the Red Shite. Okay, he's had 65 shots on goal and only hit the target 15 times. He's got a percentage. He's got a percentage of 29%. That is proper shit.
Right shite. Yeah.
So again, guys, they get points for where they land in that position, and then we move it up to the end. Okay.
Just for out of curiosity to see how this compares to like the emotion that all the social media and the coverage generates. Who's sitting at the top?
Okay. Don't right now it says Seuss, but you can't count him. He's played a few games. The top two on this, they're just there to make up the numbers. Okay. So basically, Benjamin Sesko from Man United. Okay, that boy hits the target a lot. Thiago from Brentford. That's another good one. He scored a lot of goals this season. Okay.
Okay.
The above average.
So not outliers.
Yeah. Go on. Yeah. So
no, I'm just saying. So it's they're not outliers like that. To see them near the top, that doesn't shock me.
No, it doesn't. I mean, they're pretty good. But then if you look down below as well, you see people down here, like I said, Ekatiki, Liam Delap, Zerski, Strand Larson. You know what I mean? Isaac, you can't really take into account. And then you got Broker. But look at who's around us. João Pedro, Chelsea, sits below Beto. You wouldn't think that, would you? Because when you watch him play, he looks fucking decent. But the guy can't hit a cow's ass with a banjo. He has plenty of shots, but not that many of them hit the target.
Right.
See, it's surprising, isn't it? Because when you watch a game, it's like, a lot of the time your mind or your heart, isn't it? But when it comes to look at the stats, you're like, no way. No fucking way.
Yeah.
But the stats don't lie, man, the numbers. So the average, okay? The next one, right? Aerial, okay? Aerial duels. Now, they're both big lads. Okay. They're both big lads, okay? So I've split it in two. How often do they get involved in aerial duels? Give the centre halves, attack the centre halves, give them a bit of a torrid time in the air, and how many of them headers do they actually win? Okay, so it's getting up for the ball. How often they do it each match? How much the pressure in the centre halves when there's a long ball, and then the percentage of headers won. Where do you think they land?
All right, I'll take this one first. So I think above average for Beto because he does get in and give centre halves a real battle, plays his arse out.
Yeah.
I'd say average for Thierno Barry.
Okay.
And then what was the other one? How many headers they actually win?
So they get up there, they give them a centre half. So how often each game they're getting involved, and then when you do get involved, what percentage of them?
I'm going to go above average
Okay. So above average for what they win and about average for actually
Yeah,
getting
I'm going to
involved.
go above average for both for Beto and average.
Okay. All right. What about
Yeah,
you? What
yeah,
about you,
that's it
Mark?
for me. Beto being better
I
than
I
Barry.
I, I got to admit that in preparation for this, I did some digging and I cheated. I didn't know that this was going to be our format, and so I happen to know that Tiano is actually at the top, not at the very top, but he's near the top. And Beto, I can only assume, is average because he doesn't hold the play up very well.
Well, that will come to the holding of the play later, but this is just headers. This is
Yeah,
headers.
I would say maybe average or below average for Beto.
Okay. Well, we have the best two strikers in the league.
Wow.
What the?
Average attempts per match, Barry, nearly 14, Beto 12. These two here, they've only played a couple of games, so I'm not really including them too much in this conversation, but they're the best two strikers in the league. They get involved with
Bro,
centre halves more than anybody. Barry attempts to win an average of 14 headers every. But you know what's worrying about this?
Go on.
It tells you what sort of style of play we're playing. If our strikers are having to battle for 14, 15 headers every match, trying to get up in the air, it tells you we're just hooping the fucking ball forward. And it's quite obvious sometimes what we're doing.
oh yeah.
You understand?
Yeah, we
So,
did see that though, didn't we? We,
yeah,
we saw that against Palace, didn't we?
yeah,
With Beto's goal.
exactly.
It was Beto's goal? Was it? It was
Yeah,
Tarkovsky played it long,
yeah,
didn't he? Come
yeah.
down and Beto ran onto it.
So to me, it's shining a massive light on. Look at that, 269 attempts, Barry. So we've hit the ball to his head nearly 269 times. That is an absolute
Yeah.
massive stat, and it just shows you. Say Beto's a couple of hundred times. So in them games there, Beto and him have been involved, 468 times in
Yeah, we're
headers.
going back to dice ball.
It is, and I've noticed it a lot. It goes back to Pickford, he hoofs it up, or Tarkowski will hit a long one. I've noticed it quite a bit, and when you bypass the creative midfield just to hoof it. And what I notice, all right, we'll go on to the winning headers now, but when we do win a header, there's nobody near him. How
No,
often do you see us picking up
there's
that
no
second?
Mansell answer,
Yeah,
is there?
how often do you ever see us picking up that second ball? It's quite
Right.
Yeah,
it's
not a
quite
lot.
poor, So all right, so we're probably the best at actually challenging for headers, but where do we go when it comes to winning them? Let me just get
Yeah.
this right now. Hold on.
I saw something that
There you
was
go.
it really kind of blew me away is what kind of company Barry is in because he's ranked ahead of Virgil
Oh yeah, he's up there.
and right below Tiago, who is top notch, and right behind what used to be my current favorite player that I did not want to get rid of. Number one is Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Well, when we'll get to Calvert Lewin, mate, because these two aren't. But Calvert Lewin's got a patch on the two of them, basically.
Well, he's
He's
making
there.
way more
He's
money than those two guys, so his
well, he is.
value's not.
No, we'll get to the value at the end. So also, listen, he he's off them. Okay, he's still up there, but he's off them. Okay, but percentages won.
Okay.
If you look at Barry, again, he's in the top. Okay, he's won 46%. Haaland's up there, but look at how many attempts Haaland's had to make. He makes less than 3 or 4 every 90. So that shows you that Man City, the headers that he has from Man City are actually put into the box. So we can get his head on the end of them. Where our boys headering, it's with their back to the defender, hoofed long, and told to get a flick on or try and hold it up. But you can see here some of the best players in the league, Sesko, Haaland, Pedro, they're winning headers. They're jumping for headers and they're winning them. And it's always in the opposition box as well. We
Right.
don't hoof
Wow.
it up. So you can see it's just a massive, massive issue for us with the long ball. All right, we have two big men, but we don't utilise them. We don't get that second ball. We don't get that drop off. every time I look, Dewsbury Hall's nowhere near what our strikers, and he's the man sitting behind. You know, he's always pushing it deeper when the ball goes long, and no one's there to pick it up. So when they do win, he wins nearly 50%. Look, so 50% go away.
Yeah,
Wow.
what are we doing with that?
You know, what are we doing with that ball when he wins it? Because nothing ever comes of it, as far as I can see. But yeah, basically both
that's
our
crazy.
boys are probably up there in the top 5 in the league for headers. So yeah, another surprising stat that a lot of people probably
Just
didn't
that's
see
the
coming.
lie, my friend.
You know, of course did. So, but yeah, that's that one. Okay, so
It just goes to show you how much emotion changes, you know,
yeah,
your
it
valuation.
does, and Evertonians are very emotional. You know,
Oh, we're
yeah,
bitter as they come.
you know, what a player makes one mistake and he's the shittest player on earth. You know
Yeah,
what
I've
I mean?
noticed that.
It is, and it's a lot more with the younger generation, dude. I don't know what it is, but the younger generation are so. I think because they haven't seen as many hard times as we have. We've been seeing hard times for 30, 40 years. You know, they've only
Yeah.
they've only seen a lot of these lads now. They've only seen it for 15, 20. So we're sort
Well,
of
they
used
get
to it.
Yeah,
But you know,
they the technology has and the changing in parenting style has made it
exactly.
also so they get fucking instant gratification on everything.
Yeah, you know, so everyone's shite to most Evertonians, you know. But as a lot of these stats are showing so far, they're not. Okay. The next one is final third. For me, this is quite important. Okay. So basically, how often do we get the ball to the striker in the final third and he's able to get a touch and lay it off? How often does he get in that position, get a touch, and then make a pass in the final third? You know, basically hold up play, isn't it? You know, you should be able to get a pass into your big man. He takes a touch, lays it back or lays it out wide. How often do you think our strikers do that in a game?
I think with the last stat we discussed, I'm going to go below average.
So below average.
For both of them.
For both of them. Okay.
For both, yeah.
So the average amount of times.
It's not based 90, on the style of play.
Yeah. Okay. What about you, Ma? Where you going, mate?
Yeah, I'm gonna say below average because it's something that I've been watching for this season. It just seems like when the ball gets to them in that scenario, that seems like that's where our play breaks down.
Okay, so let's have a quick look now. Let's have a look at final third passes per 90. Barry's well up there. He does an average of 8.14 passes per 90 minutes. So he gets on the ball at least 8 times and lays off a pass. Beto, poor guy's all the way basically at the bottom of the league.
Yeah.
So you can always tell though, Barry's a lot more technical than Beto. He has little touches, he has little flicks. You can see it, and he is up there. You know, you got players below him like Gyökeres, Calvert-Lewin, Jimenez, Richarlison. You know,
yeah, some names there, like
yeah, exactly. He actually stands above them.
Solid company.
Yeah,
solid company.
So, believe it or not, Barry does get on the ball and does make passes in the top third of the pitch. I know it's madness, isn't it? You're thinking, I've never seen him do it. Maybe it's too quick when he does it, but he actually does.
When does this happen?
Well, you know, it's happening, mate. Maybe we're just not.
The numbers don't lie, mate.
Yeah. So again, it's another surprising stat for Barry, isn't it? You know,
absolutely.
So he wins the ball in the air, he gets the ball in the final third, and he gets the passes off. You know, so again, that is another set of points where you're like, oh, really?
Yeah, it's been very educational. So
it is, but yeah, you know, Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah.
You just can't. You can't. Ollie Watkins for Villa sitting an average.
Yeah.
You know, but look at this. Sesko for Man United, all the way down there. And I think he's a great player. It's just again,
he's a decent player.
I think that's why these stats sort of even themselves out, because you know some of them are good for some one player. So there's enough stats here. Look at Haaland.
Jeez.
Haaland
He's
doesn't
was
touch the
down
ball.
38.
Yeah,
Mad,
I'm 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 looking at some of these other stats, and I don't see Holland up there at all
No,
in
mate.
a lot of these categories. It looks like that's just a well-rounded team, and he gets a lot of the
He,
hype off of
he's
them.
he's a goal scorer. That's all they bought him
Yeah,
for, was to score goals. The problem is these days, teams are expecting too much from the strikers. Me, I'm traditional. I'm like, put the ball in the back of the net and I'll be happy with it. You know,
Yeah,
yeah,
100%.
I'm a goal hanging sort of striker. You know, sit on the back, man. Wait for the ball to come in the box. Get yourself on the end of it. But get some through balls in and do it that way.
I mean,
I
we're
think,
made, aren't we?
yeah.
We're made like for big number nines.
But
We've always loved our number nines, haven't we?
but the thing is, they're going out of fashion, mate. You know,
Yeah,
how many times this season did you see somebody whip a ball in the box of Barry and Beto? How
yeah,
often? You need big number nines when you're whipping the ball in the box.
yeah.
Ndiaye cuts inside and dribbles. McNeil doesn't play on the left anymore, so he can't whip it in the box. Grealish was getting a few of them in, you know, but most of them was low. He crossed a few and he did a couple of assists. We don't have wingers. We don't play traditional wingers with the big striker.
No,
Traditional wingers normally fly down the wing and whip it across, and that big striker attacks every ball in that 18-yard box.
yeah.
If I think back now, I can't remember many this season. They've always got the
well,
back. They've always got the backs to the goal. You know.
maybe that's changing with Rule, playing on the wing lately because he brings a lot of pace and he's a big man
He
himself.
has. He's been getting down the wing, if you noticed, but he's been
Yeah,
more. He's been pulling it back though. He hasn't been putting it up. You noticed
right.
that a few of his crosses, they've been pulled back across the goal. You know, see the one that Beto just missed out on against Man City because he pushed it across he whipped it across the floor. If he'd have just chipped that to the back post, he was in. No, we
Yeah.
got big lads who attack defenders and have proven that they're more superior in the air than most defenders in the league, and we don't utilise it. All their headers
Wow.
were with their back to goal. It's madness, isn't it?
Crazy, mate.
It's absolute madness.
Absolutely crazy.
So again,
Yeah.
Barry is up there. He gets 8 points for it. Beto struggles a bit on the 2 points. He's not. That's one of his biggest weaknesses, is getting on the ball in the final third. All right. Okay, so now we're going to move on to progressive carries. Okay, this one's quite important as well for the striker. How often does he get it on the ball, hold it up, and like travel forward? You understand? It's classed over like a 5 meter period, and when he does get hold of the ball and travel forward, does anything come at the end of it? You know, because the big lads, aren't they? The big dangly lads, and they're not really built for pulling out to the wing and carrying it forward.
No,
Or, you know, they're not built for it. Okay, so where would you think they land when it comes to
I
actually
would
getting forward
I
with it?
would say Barry over Beto, but I wouldn't put Barry. I would maybe Barry above average, Beto below average.
Okay, what about you, Nick?
Average for Thierno Barry and below average for Beto, I think.
Yeah, okay, let's have a look now. Okay, progressive carries per 90 minutes. Okay, Barry only picks the ball up 2.3 times and carries it, and Beto 1.9. So he's a both spot on basically. The average to
Yeah.
below average for getting the ball and going forward with it. Okay,
It seems like Barry carries through the middle third pretty well.
yeah,
But Beto, he's like a baby moose. He just doesn't have he needs to take ballet class. He just doesn't have any touch with his feet.
okay. And then there's another part of this. Okay, when they do it, okay, basically what comes of it. At the end, is it an end shot, like you can see here, an end goal, an end chance, or an end assist? And believe it or not, Barry is right up there. So
Wow.
when he does carry the ball, okay, every time he's carried the ball, we've ended up with 6 shots, a goal, and 5 have ended up in chances. So when he has got hold of
So
it,
he's very productive, then, isn't he?
he is very productive, mate. So when you can get him on the
Yeah.
ball and actually get him in a position, he's extremely productive. He's above Sesko, Calvert-Lewin,
Yeah.
Gyökeres, Richarlison, Solanke, Jimenez, Broker. Look at all these names down here. that don't actually
Wow.
bring nothing else. Beto struggles 3 times, have ended in the shot, and he's done nothing else with the ball. But Barry, technically, he's up there. Again, he's way up there.
These guys are doing so well, and it's not like we have bad players anywhere else, and then we have England's number one. I don't understand where, if the numbers are this, where are we falling short?
Well, listen, I mean, we'll probably get to that a bit later on as well, but it's not just that. All you ever see on social media or hear on social media is, we want Barry out, we want Beto out. They're not good enough for the Premier League. Okay, we need to bring in replacements. Who are you replacing them with? Are you going to buy somebody else from the Premier League who sits at the bottom of this table?
Where are you going to get the money from?
Are you going to buy Strand Larson for 50 million and he sits down the bottom? Are we going to go for Cahill? Not Cahill, what's his name? Delap?
No.
So everybody's complaining about our strikers, but compared to the rest of the Premier League, they're more than competing. They're competing in goals. They're competing in winning headers. Barry's up there for technical, getting hold of the ball, holding it up, carrying it, getting shots, getting passes off at the end, getting shots off at the end, making chances at the end. He's up there. So yeah, sometimes when the whole team's playing bad, they look at the striker. This is what I've noticed. If the whole team's playing bad, it's the striker's fault. I've noticed all the time.
You're not scoring.
He's not doing enough. He's not doing it. What do you want him to do? What do you want your striker to do?
Yeah.
I want my striker to get in a position to score a goal. Now and again, if he has to get involved in the game. But before, the getting involved in the game bit was when you played 4-4-2. One of your strikers would drop deep. You'd take a touch of the ball. You'd lay it out to the wing. The wingers would fly up and cross in the box. You don't play like that now. They're playing with a midfielder behind the front man. So the strikers shouldn't be dropping deep anymore. You should be sitting on that last defender and saying, put me through. Put something through. These days, everyone's expecting strikers to be magicians like Mersey. It doesn't work. For me,
absolutely not.
Bring a striker in and let him score the goals. End of story.
I think what's going to be interesting is I don't think we're going to have the two of them next season. One of them's definitely.
I think so myself, but at the end of the day, who do you let go? And we'll get to that in a minute. We'll look at how value for money and stuff like that. Okay. So now we've been through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've been through about 9, 10 aspects of the game. Okay. Overall, with all these points accumulations, where do you think Beto and Barry finished compared to all the other strikers in the Premier League?
I think, based on what we've talked about, I think probably the above average for Barry and top range average for Beto.
Okay. And you, Mark?
Yeah, I would agree with that, and yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay,
I'd say Beto top 5, Barry top 15.
Okay. Barry Lake's just behind some of the best strikers in the Premier League, mate. Total of 66 points. Beto sits there. They both sit above average. So for all aspects of games, goals scored by 90, shots, aerial duels, final third, carries, end chances, they're up there. Either the rest of the strikers in the Premier League are that shit, or our strikers are actually decent. Because
I think we've been talking, haven't we? We say about it every week on the show about Barry, needing to develop. And I think the example I'd use would be like the lad from Palace, Better. Yeah. Like when he first come over, he wasn't great. Oh, no. He found a little while to get his foot. I think Barry is very similar to him.
Yeah, I to be honest with you, I think Barry can be decent. So listen, we've gone through the attributes now, all right, and then we've got 2 more things to talk about. One of them is the XG. Okay, I think everyone understands XG, correct? Out of the chances that we've created for them this season, okay, how many should they have scored? How many have they scored? And what their point is on that? So for me, that's an important stat as well. Okay, because it shows, are we creating chances for them? And when we do they put them in the back of the net? You know, so we have to take a. We're not going to do any guessing on that one. You know, we'll just get straight to it now. Anyway, so
Yeah.
with the XG, okay, when it comes to XG performance, our boys are average. Okay,
XG
Yeah.
is expected goals, right?
it's expected goals, and how they get to that expected goals is they look at the chances created. Okay, they look at when you had a chance, how high did it bounce off the floor? Was it in the 6 yard box? Was it on the edge of the box? And it's like there's thousands and thousands of stuff put into an algorithm, and then this says, okay, out of all of that, he should have scored this amount of goals per season. Okay,
Okay.
so Barry theoretically should have scored 9. He scored 8. So he's got an XG performance of 0.876, which is pretty damn good.
That's
Beto,
pretty good, yeah.
yeah, Beto should have scored 10.4. So let's say 10. Let's go down, and he scored 9. Okay, so they sit in XG in the Premier League as average strikers. Okay, Calvert-Lewin, who everybody, he scored something like 13 goals this season, but how many of them have been penalties?
Right.
Okay, he should have scored 18 goals this season, and he only scored 13. He's missed 5 sitters. His XG,
Who's
the Calvert-Lewin, is absolute piss poor XG.
who's at the top of that list?
Believe it or not, it's Matthias Tell from Tottenham, but he hasn't played so many games. And then you got Richarlison.
Okay, yeah.
Mates, you know who's surprising? Who've been watching this? Zian Fleming from Burnley. He scored 10 goals this season.
Yeah.
He's got a good XG. And then you got your
Yeah, definitely under the radar there, doesn't he?
Gyökeres, João Pedro. Look at Haaland. He sits in the average.
Wow.
He sits at average XG.
Yeah.
But because he plays in a team that creates so many chances,
Yeah.
He's knocking them in, isn't he?
Exactly. So you can physically see it. So our guys for XG as well, the average Premier League strikers, they don't miss more than any of them more, you know, and they don't overperform the average. You know, they sit around Sesko.
So they're not actually as bad
Yeah, exactly. So
as made out of.
no. So when you see them miss a chance, the rest of the strikers in the Premier League are missing more.
Jeez.
Yeah.
There's 25, there's 20 strikers in the Premier League that have missed more chances than Barrow and Betty this season. Ollie Watkins has missed more chances. Calvert-Lewin has missed more chances. Mateta sits nearly down the bottom. He's missed more chances. Liam Delap, who we want to sign, sits at the bottom.
I don't want him. I don't want him.
I don't myself. Said it from the beginning. You know, don't want him.
Look, in speaking to the collective emotion of Evertonians like you were before, I got to agree with the crowd in that I don't want players that have passed on us.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. I agree. He didn't want to come to us before. He's gone to Chelsea. Yeah, he got a nasty injury beginning of the season, but he still played 12 90-minute games. He scored 1 goal. He's got an XG of 0.202.
If
Chelsea was,
you know,
if someone sees us as anything less than a giant club, you know, who's had a bit of a rough patch the last 35 years, then I just don't think they have the attitude, you know, for the wages that they get. I want someone whose heart is in it. I think that goes a long way, and that's really why I'm big on Beto.
Yeah, the thing is, strikers these days, they want an easy run and they want trophies. So they want to do as little as possible, and they want to get paid more, and they want trophies at the end of it. That's why he went to Chelsea. He could have been playing every single game for Everton and enjoying football, probably scoring goals, but he decided, no, I'd rather rotate with another striker, you know, maybe play 20 games a season, and, you know, piss poor, stay away from.
Yeah, I was
get a nice bunch of money for it.
Exactly. You know, so.
Anyway. I was surprised to see him make that choice because there wasn't any guarantee that he was going to play above all those guys. You know, Chelsea signed a ton of people the last 2 years.
Yeah, and here's a question for you as well. we've got the likes of Bournemouth, Brentford, Brighton, okay, all sitting around us, and their strikers have underperformed compared to ours this season.
Wow.
There's two strikers sitting at bottom for XG. They're absolutely piss poor. You know, even at the end points.
Yeah, everybody else obviously taking a weight, aren't they?
Even at the end points tally, you know, look at Bournemouth, below average and poor. You know,
Yeah.
Walter Monday from Newcastle, they paid 70 million for him, and he sits in that poor section. You know, so why are all these teams like Brighton, Bournemouth, Brentford? Brentford I can understand that. Thiago is like smashing it up, you know, but they're creating the
Yeah,
chances for him.
top player.
So how are all these teams sitting around us and our strikers outperforming their strikers and outscoring their strikers? Because they have a lot more players in their team that score goals.
Yeah.
You know, I think they have wingers, fast, pacey wingers. I mean, look at Crystal Palace tonight. That Sarr that scored past us, he scores 12 goals this season.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, decent player, mate.
Yeah, he is. He's a good player. Anyway, let's move on now because I think we've already been going a while now. So now I want to just talk quickly about value for money. How much it's cost us now to have Beto for the time he's been there, have Barry, and compared to everybody else, okay? So basically, I broke this down, okay? I broke it down into the transfer value, the wage cost, how many weeks they've been at the club, and how much it's cost per goal, okay? So everything from salaries to goals, all right? And basically, when you actually put it, cost per goal so far, Beto has cost us 1.6 million a goal. But he's been there, okay? He's been
I'm in
there,
the wrong business.
he's been there 142 games, okay? Or weeks, let's say, okay? Barry, he's cost us around the 4 million mark right now, but he's only played the 43 weeks, okay? But these ones at the top here, Nemecha, Wilson, Lewin, and Welbeck, they were all free transfers. So they've only had the cost of the wages and stuff like that to be able to go into it. So they've been the best deals of the season, to be honest with you. Nemecha, Wilson, and Lewin. Cost for money and goals that's come out, it's cost them a couple of 100,000 for each goal. So
Compared to
Wow.
millions for us.
exactly. It's cost 50 million a goal for Isaac from Liverpool. Okay, it's cost Chelsea 40.6 million per goal for Delap so far.
Jeez.
With his wages. Newcastle, Walter Marde, it's costing them 11.5 million per goal so far this season.
Wow.
And then you got Ekatiki, 9 million. Sesko, 8.5. So, value for money wise.
We're not that bad then, are we?
Oh, we are. Wait till I get to the team value for money, mate. And it's going to blow your mind. You know? And yeah, look, I think we can do, the people that were there, this is their first season at their club as well. Okay? Let me filter this now.
Yeah.
Barry, compared to everybody else, he's up in the up just above the top half here, see? But you can see here that the top,
Yeah.
There's three at the top there that were free transfers. So Beto right now,
Yeah.
Barry right now this season's costing 4 million. But look at the people below him: Jesus, Pedro, Jokeres, Sesko. This is all their first season at their clubs, by the way. Okay, look how much it's cost them so far. Look what they're paying per goal for their strikers. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So our boy Barry's looking like a bargain, isn't he? In that regard.
100%. Bang on. We pay him 45 grand a week. We only paid 30 million for him.
Yeah, and Barry's the only one that I see on this list that's below £1 million a year. He's at like 920 or something like that.
Yeah. You know, so he's definitely there. So again, we can't complain. What we paid for him and the outlay we're getting per goal for him compared to all the top teams in the Premier League, Arsenal, Man United, Liverpool, Newcastle, then you've got your Chelsea's. Guys, he's outperformed all of them. Every single one of them, he's outperformed them per goal. He's outperformed him in nearly everything. But we still think he's shit. He's not. He's a above average striker compared to
I'll
what's
tell
in
you
this
what,
Premier
mate.
League now.
This has been a proper. Yeah.
You know.
This has been a proper eye opener. It really has.
I think that really speaks to how tired we are of being where we've been the last 3-4 seasons. You know,
Yeah.
when you see these balls come into the area or the 6-yard box and it goes off his fucking heel, it's you just
But it happens to everybody.
that's what you focus on. You know,
it happens to every striker in the league. It happens to them all. It's just that we focus on it every. You know, if you can tell the XG, the chances that our strikers were supposed to have had, they buried them. But what speaks volumes is we don't put enough crosses in the box. We don't play to the strengths of the strikers we have. You know, the style we play now, we're trying to play and not cross it. We're better off with fast whippets up front who can get on the end of through balls or can get behind the front man when the ball's played low across the back four. We don't play high balls across their back four. We play low balls most of the time. So again, style of football with the people, we don't utilise it correctly. I believe if we've got big men, utilise them. Bring wingers in that run down the wing and cross it into the box. If you're going to go old-fashioned, big guy up front, donkey style of play, then utilise it to its strengths. You know, long ball can be a decent tactic, but not week in, week out. You know, and that's sort of what we've been doing. So again, for the first year signing this year, Barry's nothing compared to what some of the teams that have signed some players this season. You know, he's nothing. He just sits up there. You take the free transfer.
It's ironic because we nearly got that ball to Maida. We were in the
take the free
conversation, weren't we, before the price went up?
Yeah, if you take the free transfers away, he's in the top 6 for signings this season.
Wow.
for goals per pound, he's in the top 6.
Yeah, that's really good.
It is, you know, it is good. And the next one,
people
go Thierno Barry.
Yeah, Thierno Barry's the man, mate, for me. You know, first season, you got to understand as well, it's the first season in the Prem. It's hard.
Yeah.
So, you know, a couple of them misplaced passes or a couple of them things.
He's a young lad as well.
You know, it takes so long to get used to the pace in the Premier League. It's unreal. Because he comes from La Liga where you get fucking 15 minutes on the ball. You don't have some big grocky centre-half sticking his nutsack on the back of your fucking ass, you know what I mean? They're right on you in the Premier League. So it takes a lot of adjustment, plus his strength as well. You know, they'll be working on the strength to hold it up because we have big lads. The centre-halves in the Premier League are big, strong lads. You know, in La Liga, you know, they're a lot more athletic, faster, not as tall, not as bulky. You know, there's still some big centre-halves there, but in the likes of La Liga, they're all about
totally
pace
different
and
game.
football. It's a totally different game. So for his first season, for me, Barry, money-wise, performance-wise...
Yeah, the Prem's very physical, isn't it?
Yeah, he's been acceptable, above acceptable. But I think we're expecting too much of him. His first season, but for what he's given us, better than most of them. For what we paid, he's better than most of them. You know?
Wow.
Yeah, I tell you what, the numbers don't lie, mate.
They don't. They're all there, you know? And yeah, the next one here is just the last one. It's a quick one here. It's just team cost, okay? So basically, what's it cost the team per goal? Okay, Everton are in the top 5. We've paid 5 million per goal. It's only cost us 65 million per day to date.
I mean, that statistic alone is really surprising, isn't it?
It is. I mean, if you look at the Man City one, they had Haaland. Wow. He's just, they only bought him for 60 million, but they paid him 100 million in wages.
Yeah, that is
okay. So
eye-opening.
Yeah, exactly. You got the Leeds on top. That's because they took 2 free transfers. They didn't pay money for any strikers this season. They took all free transfers. So, you know, if you took the free transfer out of the way as well, Everton are in the top. They're already in the top 5 for cost.
Wow.
Per goal. So we're only paying 5 million per goal. Look at what everybody else has paid. Burnley are paying 25 million a goal. Chelsea are paying 45 million a goal.
Well,
Yeah,
just imagine how well we're gonna do now that
I mean, to have Brentford third,
we're able
yeah.
to spend if we're producing like this on the budget that we have coming out of the dark era that we've had.
Exactly.
I mean,
And you got to look at it this way. Look at what they're paying for the goals as well. Where is it getting them? Newcastle, mid-table mediocrity. West Ham, nearly getting relegated. Brighton, everybody talks, oh, Brighton, they get all the good deals, they do this. No, they don't. You just see great deals for some of the right backs they do, but when it comes to strikers, no. They're paying 7 million a goal.
wow.
United are paying 18 million a goal. Wolves, 20 million.
And the nice figure there is the red shite bottom of the table.
I know. They're paying 60 million a goal now because they spent, what was it, 200 million on strikers, so they've got to claw that money back. But this season, and cost alone, since they've signed for these clubs, Everton, we don't spend much. You know, unless we're going to go out and try and buy strikers for 70, 80, 90 million quid, which we're never going to do. I don't think we're going to do. You know? To me, it's like, we got Barry, we got Beto.
I mean, to be fair as well, you know, like what these figures overall have shown is like the cost of Barry was a bargain.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
You know?
At the time, everybody talks about all these expensive strikers like Newcastle and Voltemade, 70 million,
Yeah. Exactly, mate. Exactly. So, like I said to you, it is a bit of an eye-opener, isn't it?
Absolutely fascinating stuff, mate.
So end of the day, boys, we're not that bad. Barry's not as shit as everybody says. Beto's
It really is. It really is.
Beto's pretty decent, and we're paying jack shit for them compared to everybody else in the Prem. We're paying in the top 5 for what we pay and what we get out of them. Do we need better?
Lad, we're Everton. We're Everton fans.
Exactly. So we think with our hearts most of the time. But the question is as well, would you keep them another season?
It's an emotional game, isn't it?
It is. But would you keep them another season? Or would you try and improve on them? Our strikers have outperformed strikers from nearly every other club in the league.
Do you know what? I'm going to go against the stats and everything we talked about for the last hour. If it was me, I'd get rid of Barry.
Wow.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Get rid of Barry. He's one of the best performing.
One goes Barry.
He's one of the best performing strikers in the league. Let's get rid of him.
Wow.
Says it all. And the thing is with Barry, he can only get better.
Yeah, no, he's
attitude.
You know what?
They both come on the last few months.
That's let him down. Barry's attitude has let him down. I totally agree with that. You know what I mean? You can't complain about that. But at the end of the day,
it fucking stinks, mate.
He has to learn that lesson, mate. Come on, how many world-class strikers have you seen in the Premier League about bad attitudes? You have to sometimes work around it, and you have to do something about it. You just don't get rid because they have a bad attitude.
Most of them.
Exactly. Especially foreign strikers, mate. Their attitudes towards the game is atrocious, and it's just part of the Premier League game now, isn't it?
I mean,
if you're going to get rid of a striker because he's got a bad attitude, but he's scoring your goals.
Beto pulls that shirt on, and it means everything to him.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. But at the end of the day, if someone...
I think the answer for me, let's bring in another striker and keep holding Beto. That's probably a controversial opinion, but...
Well, at the end of the day, it's an opinion, isn't it? I mean, you're sort of getting rid of somebody for his attitude, and you're right, because his attitude could also affect the rest of the team. It could affect performances, and if he had a better attitude, he'd probably perform a lot better as well. Correct. So it's also a viable enough reason to get rid of him. Although he is up there, he's way up there for performance this season. But if your attitude's costing the rest of the team or whatever, then You have no choice to get rid, do you?
Oh, you can't argue that, mate, with the numbers.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, does the club see it like that? They might be like, ah,
Mate, I'm fed up with the fucking sulking.
he is. He is like a child, isn't he? You know what I mean? He is. What is he? 23 years of age or something now?
Yeah.
And he is still a bit wet behind the ears. I
Yeah,
think
100%. Yeah.
He's very wet behind the ears and stuff like that.
22, 23, isn't he?
Exactly. Exactly. So, but anyway, guys, there you have it. Stats don't lie.
I think the other one as well is he's had about 4 or 5 clubs, hasn't he?
Who?
He's had like loads of clubs in such a young career.
Barry? Only 2, no?
Barry.
It's only 2. He was in France and then Spain, I think.
Yeah, he was in Villarreal.
Villarreal, yeah.
He's had a few
Villarreal.
clubs, hasn't he? He doesn't stay anywhere long.
No, I think he was at Villarreal for about a year or 2, and then he was with the.
Yeah, he's played for more teams in Villarreal than Everton.
He was with someone in France before Villarreal. Okay.
Yeah.
But he was with
So
Villarreal, I think, for 2 seasons. So that would have made him 21. Then he was with another team in France for 2 seasons, and that would have made him 19. So senior level.
Don't get me wrong.
Go on, mate.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting there beating up on Thierno Barry. I mean, any of our listeners on the MVP know that I've given him chance after chance after chance after chance, and I don't know. I think for me,
Are you still there, Mark?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, he is cutting out.
I think we lost Nick.
Yeah,
Hey,
sorry,
I don't know if you saw this line, but Beto is number 4 in the league for goals in the 6-yard box, and he's in some great company. João Pedro, Ollie Watkins, Gyökeres, and then Beto, and then behind him Casemiro, and then behind him Richarlison. I mean, he's right there in the mix for.
That's where he scores his goal, isn't he?
And those are big man goals right there in the 6-yard box.
Yeah, but he could probably score more goals in the 6-yard box if we put it in the 6-yard box more. You understand? He'd probably be well up there. He'd take over a lot of them. It's just, for me, if it was me, I'd go one more season with the 2 strikers we've got. Oh, Mark's back now. Don't know what happened. Completely lost him. You there, Mark?
Yeah, I'm on a ship, so the signal's going to come in and out sometimes.
Yeah, but I was just saying, my opinion there, for me, we keep them for one more season. And the reason I say this, okay, is I don't want to go spend the money this season on a striker when we got strikers that can score goals for us, okay? When we need more things like fullbacks, maybe a bit more creativity. So I would not waste. I would go out and get high-end fullbacks, because then fullbacks also create chances for your strikers.
Yeah.
There's chances we've created for our strikers this season is 20. That's all we've created for our strikers this season is 20 chances.
Yeah, they're not getting service, and then the teams that know which players are not serving forward well are getting picked on.
Yeah.
So like it's easy to double up on Grealish when he plays on the same side as Mikolenko because that there's not going to come much from that side, and it's easy to chase down the the 3-legged wildebeest. So in all the groups that I'm in, some of us are more knowledgeable than the other, and I admittedly and not an expert by any means, but the general consensus, the overwhelming consensus by a far cry is a shortage is fullbacks. I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that it's the type and the amount of service that our strikers are getting. I would agree with that, and pretty much everybody that I chat with throughout the week and during match days says the same thing.
Yeah.
And that opinion spans your below average fans and then your knowledgeable fans as well. So I think that's the theme there.
Yeah, and there's another reason for me why I want to keep the 2 strikers for another season is because Moyes' contract's going to be up in a year as well. You know, and I honestly don't think that they're going to renew it. So, and every time a new manager comes in, they want to bring their own people, don't they? They want their own style of play, this, that, the other. And then if we sign another striker that doesn't fit into a style of play, I'll be like, but fullbacks, every manager likes fullbacks, correct? Every manager likes attacking fullbacks, fast fullbacks. So they fit into any manager's plans, but strikers don't, you know? So, and I've just got this sneaky feeling that Moyes might not be there in a year's time. I just don't know.
Well, I'm happy he's got us where we're at now. We were discussing this earlier, and like you said, he's a one-trick pony. We're not developing our depth, and we're not making subs in time.
Yeah. Well, listen, he's got his strength and he's got his weaknesses. You know, it's how which of them come through every season, isn't it? You know, if you get more of his strengths, and then it's great. But if it's not balancing itself out properly, you know, he's 70-30 for me. So, but you know, yeah,
Yeah.
do I love what he's done for the club? How much he loves the club, yeah. But is he the future? I can't say right now, to be honest with you. Is Nick still with us? Are you there, Nick, or have you gone, mate? He's probably talking to himself and doesn't realise. He's probably babbling on about how shit Barry is. Oh, there he is. He is. He's probably like, that Barry's shit, and he's probably ranting and everything, saying, I don't want him anymore. And now he's not even getting fucking recorded. Are you there, Nick?
You know, I can't. It's you put things into context pretty well when you keep reminding
I
us
am here.
that. Oh, there he is.
He's here. Yeah, so anyway, I mean, I think we babbled on enough and I've talked about numbers too much already. So, any final words, guys? All right, the final question is, I think you've already answered it, Nick. You don't want Barry there next season. You want to bring somebody in. I want the same two strikers to stay as they are, and have another season at it. Don't waste money on strikers that are scoring goals. What about you, Mark? Final conclusion.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. I was just starting to say that you put things into context real well when you keep bringing up the fact that it is Barry's first year in the league,
Yeah.
and he's young, and I'll show my hand a little bit. I got an emotional attachment to Beto. I think I love his work rate, and his favorite quote of mine is when they asked him, if you were an animal, what would you be? And he said, I'd be a wolf, the wolf that climbs the mountain but never reaches the top. I think that just speaks volumes about, you know, his desire to be there. I think he's probably a great presence in the room. And, as someone who played sports, that that goes a long way. That does have a effect on the psyche of the team, and it is a game of inches, the six between your ears, and I think that's important as well. And his stats aren't terrible, so I would love to see what kind of improvements that we make over the summer and see what those guys can do when we're a little bit more heavily bolstered.
Are you there, Nick?
Yeah, I'm there, mate.
All right. So you don't want to change your mind on Barry, like? You don't want to give him another season, mate?
I'm fed up with the fucking sulking, mate, and the attitude. I really am.
All right. So for Nick, it's you gonna keep Beto? You want them both gone?
No, Beto for me, mate.
Okay, so you'd like to keep
I'm
Beto?
like Marco. I'm like Marco. I love Beto. I love the attitude. Is he the greatest? Absolutely not. But the kid's got heart, mate.
Yeah,
And I prefer that over sulking.
But the thing is, he's in the top 30% in the league for goals per 90. So
Yeah,
he's scoring. He's costing us
yeah.
value for money. He's fantastic.
Beto all day for me, mate.
So
I'll say this about Barry. he's got to stop scoring a goal and then going over to the corner and pointing at himself for 2 minutes. That's got to stop.
But isn't that like just a celebration thing that every one of them does now? They're all coming up with new short stuff all the time. It's confusing the shit out of me. I don't even know what to do. I don't even know what to do in each time. What's point? What does it mean? You know, I don't know. I don't know. I used to love Richarlison's because you knew it was a pigeon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But half the time I'm like, okay, is he making some sort of point here? Or I'm like, you know, I mean, Beto when he's doing this like knee up thing with his arms, I'm like, all right.
That's the LeBron James celebration.
I've seen something like I heard something like that, and I'm like, okay, but what the fuck is LeBron James got to do with football?
Yeah, no, 100%.
He's got nothing to fucking do with it. Keep it out of it. Come up with your own celebration. No, but listen.
Yeah.
For me, guys, I'm keeping both of them for the season. Nick, it just hates Barry too much. He wants a replacement. You're sort of sitting on the fence as well. You know, so I think we can leave it there for this discussion. Have you got anything else to say, boys? Any final
interesting
comments?
debate, mate. Interesting debate. Really enjoyed being on the show. The stats are a real eye-opener. On the MVP, we go by like emotion, you know, like most football fans. But this has been brilliant, mate. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries,
mate. Yeah, thanks for having me. I really love the analytical, the numbers crunching. I wish that I had time to put all this together the way you did. It was eye-opening, and I enjoyed being here for sure.
Well, that's good. Well, you've also got to watch this space, mate, because I'm planning on doing the same for the rest of the team, but it takes a bit of time, you know, so... The next one's going to be for our forward attacking players, you know, like Ndiaye and Grealish and people like that, you know. I'm basically going to prove how shite Ndiaye is.
He's snake bit. He's snake bit the last 5-6 games for sure. You know what? Ever since he came back from AFCON, he's been not as good as he was before.
I'm going to show you how much huff and puff he is with no end product.
I look forward to that one, mate.
Yeah.
I might be full of shit, to be honest with you. I haven't even looked at the stats yet. It's all a guess, but yeah, that's the next one on the board anyway, so you can see.
Excellent.
You know, are our strikers bad because of the midfield? Again, we can add them all together. All right, guys. So listen, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And I'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah, up the fucking toffees. Thanks for having me.
Up the fucking toffees.
Up the toffees, lad.
Catch you later, boys. Have a good one.
The People's Club. Come on in.